We still have people coming in. Okay. Go ahead. Louder? What are you talking about, louder? Are there children in here? Please tell me no.
No.
Are there any children that are awake in here? No? Seriously, I don't want to swear in front of small children. I'm not joking with you for 1 second. I write books for children. I have to make sure I don't swear in front of children. You're not a child, darling. How old are you? 12. Are you? What are you? Oh, fuck it. You know it's late when all I have to do is say fuck it and people clap. That's when you know it's the end of civilization. And we should all just sort of, tuck our heads and pray for whatever. Hi, darling.
Hey.
By the way, can we just for one tiny second give this man seriously. It is very rare in my life.
There we go.
Very rare in my life that I will ever do anything where I just go, okay, I'll go, and let somebody else take care of everything, which is what he has done.
Although it didn't go completely as planned.
There was some serious bumps in the road. We were supposed to be done at 7, but we raised a hell of a lot of money.
Exactly, that's the point. I mean, it's not a bump. Really, it's just so that people don't yell at me. No, you just don't want to get to that thing where, people have sat there for all the time, and then, I have to go, and then they scream and yell. So, I'm happy that no one screamed at me. Thank you. And by the way, I think you should also give it up for the staff, all the security people, all of his team. Support team. Really, it's my first and only, and so I'm kind of seeing how it all works, really one time only, and it's impressive. If I was going to do it again, I would immediately go, yeah, let's do this again. I'm not going to do this again, but I'm just saying, if I was to do it again, I would say, wow, this is really great, let's do it again. But I'm not going to do it again. All right.
Told you.
I'm going to
No, people have been.
No, I know, they thought I was lying.
She'll love it. She'll be on the circuit.
No, I will not.
She'll be the next Norman Reedus.
Dick Warlock.
Yeah.
By the way, could
Secure.
you be frickin' cuter? You're supposed to be behind the camera. You're supposed to be behind the mask. You're supposed to be taking fall shit. I mean, seriously. You're gorgeous.
Okay, enough.
It's all good.
Enough making Dick's head.
All right, what do you want to know? Let's go.
So we're gonna run through some. We got
Anything
some questions
you want.
here. Frank.
Where's Frank?
I don't know where Frank is.
Raise your hand.
Frank
darling.
asks
Right here.
Oh, is this how this works? You guys write them and then you ask?
That way you can control it, and all the bad questions can get thrown out.
Got it.
What was it like to work with Donald Pleasant? We've heard that 1,000 times. So anyway, what was your family's reaction when you first told them you were going to star in Halloween?
My family, you mean my parents?
Yes.
You know what, honestly, I had virtually no relationship with my parents. My mother and I were close, but I think she was happy. I mean, you know what, honestly, at the time, it was a little tiny, low-budget horror movie. No one made a big deal about it. It was a little, tiny movie. I mean, please, it became something nicer and bigger, but it was never that. It was just this little low-budget horror film. So it was hardly a big gig, to brag about. For me, it was astonishing because my name was on every page. And when you're an actor and you're counting your lines in a TV series, which I did prior to it, with 13 regulars in a half-hour show. That's 13 people for 21 minutes of television. And in that time, I would get the script every week and you literally count your lines. So for me to have a movie where I was in every single scene, basically on every page, that was what was extraordinary. My family, it really didn't have an impact, I don't think, on them. I don't think it was anything, I mean, I'm sure my mom was proud of me, but it wasn't anything that we discussed or anything. It was, you know, again, it was, you have to remember to put it in the context of what this was. It was a little $300,000 horror film shot in, you know, 18 days, 21 days. Oh, it was shot, you know, I mean, it was really, really, really little. So don't think it was something kind of like fancy pants and the way we look at movies now. It was not that at all. It was fun, but it was not something to basically write home about, if you will.
All right, this next
By the way,
question.
I hired that woman back there. She's on the wall. I actually gave her money and said, after every single answer, I want you to start in the box.
Slow clap.
You know, she just starts at the back, and then of course the wave happens. And I'll give you your money out.
This question is from my friend, Damien Wodak. You might know him, little Living Dead dolls. They're kind of cool, huh? Come on, Living Dead dolls? Anyway, his question is, a lot of actors and actresses have shunned their early horror careers, and you obviously have embraced it, you know, coming here to a horror convention and not a giant Comic-Con where you easily could have done. How do you feel about your early career, and do you think that you were where you are today without your horror?
Oh, obviously not. I mean, come on. I mean, come on. See, no applause, seriously. There's no chance in the world, that I would have ever had any shot at anything had I not done that movie. That was totally, it's all John Carpenter and Deborah, totally his confidence in hiring me, this totally untested person in this little movie, and a big part in a little movie. And I really credit John and Deborah for giving me everything, honestly. And so here's the thing, if you're in horror films and you want to try something else, you have to make a conscious break, like breaking up. You know, I knew at some point, after doing 6 of them, that if I did another one, I would never be able to do any other kind of work. And so for me, probably one of the only times in my entire career, if that's a word that I would even use, I actually said the words, I am not going to do any more of those. And then the day I made that decision was the last day of Halloween 2. I finished that movie, which I felt was important to do because it was the direct sequel from the first movie, and I felt that the people who obviously had loved that movie, I felt like I should do that, so I did that. But then I knew that like the last day of that movie was the last day I was going to do a horror movie. And I actually said it out loud, and the next day I auditioned to play Dorothy Stratton in that TV movie. So within one day, I went from doing a horror film to doing another kind of horror film, which was this really sad, gruesome murder story of a true life woman. And so really that quickly, that switched. Now, that could not have happened, and I could have languished for a long time trying to get gigs. And I understood that. And I understood that if I had a shot to do anything else, I needed to make a break. But it wasn't a break like a divorce. It wasn't like, I don't want to ever see you again. It was, I have to do something else. And then, you know, when you try to do something else, then everybody who like supported you before was like, well, what about us? It was like, you know what, this is my life now. And so you just try to keep doing new things. So it's not like I ever divorced my past, but it's also not something that I'm going to kind of go back to a lot because I was working a lot and doing a lot of other kind of work. But I still have great pride in this work, and I've tried to uphold the dignity of this work for a long time. And at the same time, do other work. And so for me, it really has to do with a respect for the genre. I may not like the genre personally, because I'm a little scaredy cat. So it's, no, dude, I'm telling you, if you ever saw me watch something frightening, I mean, Mulan fucking scares me. My sister's laughing because she knows. So you have to understand, my son kind of like ridicules me because goosebumps used to scare me. So I am not somebody who likes to be frightened. Therefore, I am not going to love the genre. That doesn't mean I don't respect the genre, and it doesn't mean that it hasn't given me the career in my life that I have today. And without John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, there is no fucking chance in the world that I would have been an actor with any kind of a career. And so I am deeply grateful to John and Deborah and the fans of the movie to basically give that movie the kind of support it did, which allowed me to then go on and do a lot of other work. So really, I have to thank all of you for your support, because I don't think I would be here today without you. So there.
That's a good segue into the next question, which is, this is Mark from Lansing, Michigan? Or are you Mark?
Lansing.
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 Been a long day. So, anyway, are you at all surprised at the level of success Halloween has had and continues to gain in fans over the years?
Oh, please.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes. I'm in shock, honestly. And I'm amused. Because, you know, it was a little movie. And of course it became a big movie. And it was the kind of big movie that grew and grew and grew. It didn't happen overnight. You know, we didn't have opening weekends. You know, nowadays a movie's dead after 3 days if it doesn't perform. You know, Halloween didn't have like a boffo opening weekend. It just had a decent, I'm sure it did, I mean, you could look back on the numbers, it wasn't like anything monstrous, but it just caught on. It's just one of those things where people said, dude, have you seen Halloween? No. Oh, it's fucking scary. And I mean, that's really the term word of mouth. That's what used to happen if something was small and grew. So it wasn't like the movie came out and the next day all my friends were calling me going, ooh, big hit! You know, I mean, that just didn't happen. It grew slowly over a period of time. And then there was a point where it had made like a serious amount of money. And that was the moment where you were like, whoa, seriously? And that was like really the first moment of going like, oh, that's kind of fun. I do remember John, so, you know, obviously there are these three parts, right? There's Lori, the repressed virgin, brainiac, yeah? There's Annie, the smart aleck kind of jokester. And then there's the slut. Now, you all know me pretty well. If you were casting the movie today, which part would you give me?
Totally.
Well played, sir.
So, I think it's really astonishing that John actually saw who you guys don't know I am, which is Lori. And I'm not joking. I am Lori. I'm not a slut. Thank you very much. I was a virgin until college. Thank you very much.
Brain got into college at 12.
I was not a brain. And I wasn't really a smart aleck, like a card-carrying smart aleck. I had wit, but I wasn't snarky like Annie is. I was very much Lori, and I really credit John for recognizing that, for understanding that, in fact, that was the best part for me. And why was I telling you this? There was a reason. I don't know, there was a reason. I know, we were talking about the fan. Oh, right, okay. So, John, you know, the first couple days of shooting said to me, you know, I really want her to be very vulnerable. Now, I understood the word vulnerable to be weak, to mean I want her to be weak. And you know, I didn't want her to be weak, and I kind of, not to challenge him, but I was like, well, like really? Like, what do you mean? He said, I want people to want to take care of you, her. So I want you to like really tap into being the kind of person that people just want to put their arms around and say, oh, it's going to be fine. Because then when the bad stuff starts to happen, they're going to want to protect you. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. So I did the movie, and then the movie came out, and I went and saw the movie in Hollywood once in a theater, in like a late screening in Hollywood, and I kind of went in the back of the theater and sat there, and it was packed. And to watch a horror movie that you've been in, working with a packed audience, is really fun. To sit in the back and just watch the waves of people's reactions. And there was a moment when Lori walks out the house and she puts her keys in her pocket, she looks across the street, and there's that wonderful cutting back with Lori walking to the house across the street. And you guys all know what's happened in the house, and she doesn't. And it's like her face, and then the house, and then her face, and then the house. And this black woman stood up in the back of this theater and went, Jamie, don't go in there! She was screaming, don't go in there! At that moment, I understood what John was talking about. That exactly what he said was going to happen, happened. That someone was transferring all of her anxiety to try to protect this little girl, and I realized that the movie was working really, really well. And it was right at that moment that the movie switches, of course, when Lori walks across the street. So I thought that that was kind of amazing that John understood that that was something I actually had in me, and that it was, he gave me this chance to kind of bring that out, because I think somebody else would have cast me as the slut. No, I'm not joking. Maybe just because they saw me in a t-shirt or something and be like, oh yeah, she's the slut. You know, but I really respected him for understanding that I had some other to do. And it really was awesome.
Well, this question is from Jonathan Uhas. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Hi, John.
Hey, earlier, you Gabriel letter said you typed it because your penmanship sucked. Yeah, it does. Took me a few reads to get this, but basically he wants to know the song when you're walking down the street, wish I had you all. What's that all about? Where did it come from?
Okay, so that was the first day of shooting. Tommy Wallace and I walking down the street. It was the first day of shooting was that scene, I believe. I think that was the first scene we shot. It was, in fact. And yeah, I'm sorry. Who did I say? Tommy Wallace. No, Tommy Wallace is the guy I think. No, I know. Tommy. His name was Tommy in the movie. Okay, so I was close.
Character, my bad.
Was Tommy Wallace the character, right?
Tommy Doyle.
Tommy Doyle. Okay, anyway. His name was Tommy, that's all I remember. So we shot that the first day, and you know, everybody's nervous your first day, it's like school. And, no. You know what, I think we did a scene with the three girls walking first, and then we did the scene with Tommy. Anyway, it was that first day, and we did the scene where we're walking, and I had gone up to John and I said, you know, you have it that she sings a song. What, do you have a melody to the song? He said, no, just make one up. Yeah. Let me just tell you one thing. My sister will attest to this. I can't sing. I mean, I can't sing at all. So for somebody to say just make up a song on the first day of a job put me into apoplectic fear. And I'm walking away from the camera and I literally just, I don't know where that melody came from. It popped into my head. I don't know. The words were written. I mean, the words he had written. The whole "I wish I had you all alone." But And then I had to sing it when we looped the movie. And I think that was probably the biggest mortification I've ever had, is to be standing in a looping studio. I wish I had you. Horrible! Anyway, so yeah, no, I just kind of made up that little song. I don't think I got any publishing rights or anything. I don't think, maybe I could make some money doing that for Children's Hospital. Maybe I should call ASCAP and find out. But no, I just wrote the little song all by myself. And then once you did it once, you have to do it over and over again. And then it's ingrained in my head. Lo, these many years later.
This is a serious question. Jason Davis from Murray, Kentucky, wanted to know where you learned all those sweet dance moves in prom night.
You know what? I was actually a dancer. You know, I actually danced. So I was in high school, I danced. I was in, like, you know, I took dance class. I was a dancer. You know, I could have been on Dancing with the Stars. I chose not to. But, you know, I was a dancer. So being in a little prom night movie, that was all sort of me doing my thing. It was like my little, there was no choreographer, let me just say that. There was a guy, someone taught, what was his name? He played Casey. Wow, I'm telling you, Quaaludes in 1976, on my short-term memory, is gone. And I think his name was Casey. And Casey and I, somebody showed us how to do some disco, like disco moves together, but my whole little solo in the gym was all me. That was like the True Lies dance, you know, it was just sort of close your eyes and... Same thing. Jim Cameron is genius, but he can't frickin' move. I mean, he's not a guy who has any moves. And so the same thing happened in that movie, which was, it says, she dances. You know, and Jim was like, well, what are you gonna do? I said, I don't really know, Jim. I'm just gonna wing it. And he was like, okay. And I was allowed to pick the music. He said, you know, what do you want to dance to? And I said, I like John Hyatt. Because it needed to be that kind of like slow bump and grind kind of music, a little bluesy. So anyway, I said, how about that John Hyatt song, Alone in the Dark? It's kind of perfect. And the next thing I know, you know, I mean, you know, seriously. But I was a dancer. And I was in high school. So that's why I had some prom night moves.
Okay, let's
Hey,
see.
Sean, how you doing?
I'm just filing through these questions.
Okay, relax.
So, did I take?
No.
Have you seen, and if you have, what do you think of Rob Zombie's remakes?
Never saw anything that Rob... Was he a musician? No, I'm not joking. Was he in a band?
Yes.
Or a band or a singer or something? What? Okay, all I know is I kind of remembered him being a musician. Honestly, I don't see horror films. I know, it's like I feel like I'm just, you know, doing something sacrilegious to say that. I don't watch horror movies. I will tell you that my son, Tom, is going to be 17 in March, and I sat through 6 Resident Evil movies. Now, you don't understand how completely freaked out by scary things I am, and particularly things that jump at you. I mean, it just, you can't frickin' surprise me. It's like the first word I say to a guy that I know I'm gonna end up in a relationship with is, don't fucking surprise me. You know, I don't like them. I don't like things that jump out at me. I don't like a bunch of people going, surprise! I just don't like any of it. And so my son said to me, oh no, they're not scary. They're freaking terrifying. So I have actually sat through all of the Resident Evil movies. I watched Silence of the Lambs only because the makeup artist for it did a movie I was doing when it came out, and he wrote me a sheet that said, when Jody goes in the garage, close your eyes. And I walked by myself into Silence of the Lambs with my cheat sheet. And literally, I'd be sitting there and watching. She goes to some storage unit or some, right? She opens the thing. I turn in the chair going like this. And I actually say, la 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 la, until I hear the entire audience scream. And then I wait a few seconds to make sure there's not a second one. And then I look up again. And I was able to see the whole movie. When he rips off the face of the guard, keep your eyes shut for a long time. No, like when he walks up to the guard, I don't even remember, but I remember he's sitting there with a guard, and the next thing you know, he's eating him or something, right? So there were big, do not open eyes or ears for a long, long time. So that's my history with horror movies. So Rob Zombie is not going to be on my hit parade, sorry. And you know what, honestly, he freaking remade Halloween. Seriously. Except for Donald and sweet Deborah, God rest her sweet, sweet soul, we're freaking alive. I mean, seriously, remake freaking Halloween. I mean, come on. Anyway. Hallelujah. There you go.
Okay, this is from KP something, Mick something. KP Mick Boy.
Here, let me read it.
Because I got one job.
I'm going to read his name. KP McVeigh.
Is that correct? Is that first here? Well, you could have said it the first time.
He said it when I said it. Thank you.
Okay, I loved you in Freaky Friday. If you could switch places for a day with another cast member from the original Halloween, who would it be and why?
I could switch places with a cast member from the original Halloween. Who would I want to switch places with? Nick Castle. Absolutely. He had the greatest job. He just didn't have to do anything. No, and I mean that in the greatest respect. He did that with such, if you watch his performance, it's a real performance. It's all of that great. God, he was creepy as shit. Creepy. And he had small children. And people were running up, Daddy, Daddy, I want to play! It was just creepy, crazy.
Looking back over your career, this is from Stephanie from San Francisco. Looking back over your career, what is your proudest moment so far?
You know, honestly, my first day of shooting with Halloween, there was something really magical that happened with us. I'm not playing to the home crowd or anything. I'm not. You know, that was a moment for me as an actor where I got to not be me, and I got to do something that was really, I knew was going to be interesting. And, you know, I didn't have that opportunity before. And it meant a lot to me to really have that opportunity. And, you know, there have been fun things I've been able to do, but that time for me was really special. And, you know, you only get to do something first once. And that was really my first, it was, you know, that thing where you really hope your first time is good. You know what? That first time for me was really, really special. And there, you know, obviously I've done a lot of other things. Hanging under a helicopter 2 days before my 35th birthday wasn't bad, but you know, that was really that first morning, and then walking out on that set, and then, you know, I'll tell you this, John Carpenter, I mean, you may have heard this, I may have said this somewhere, God knows what I've said. You know, when you're an actor, you kind of do stuff, and it's a busy day, like, you know, and you don't get a chance to really connect during the day. You just do the work. Everybody does their job. And so I did the first day at work. And actors are always convinced they're going to get fired. Always. Because we're insecure. Because we don't know what we do. It's a weird job to do what we do. So you show up, you do what you do, and you're convinced that it was horrible. And that everybody hated you and you're going to get fired. And some people do get fired, by the way. There are actors who get fired. So I remember I was home after the first day, and my roommate, Tina, was there, and the phone rang. And it was John. And she said, Janie, it's John Carpenter. And I was like, and I went, you know, I was like, hi, hello? He said, I just want to let you know, it was a really great day of work. And that was really, I'm really thrilled with what we did today. And I just want to let you, you know, you have to know, that means something. It just means something to me. So that, along with all of the other experiences, that movie was so low budget and everybody did everything together. We were like this weird little team. There were no trailers, there were no personal assistants, there was nothing. There were like 18 people making this movie. And we were eating out on the lawn. You know, there's this picture of me where I'm smoking, I'm laying on my stomach. It's like in the back of a DVD, where I'm like laying on the ground and I've got a cigarette in my hand, my feet are up behind me. That was taken at lunch. That has nothing to do with the movie. That was just taken at lunch because we would lay around on the grass. That's how it was. It was like, it was some friend of somebody on the movie, probably somebody, friend of Tommy Wallace's, made lunch every day. There was no caterer. It wasn't catering. It was like a woman cooked and brought the food to the set. It was that kind of an experience. And that, I think, shows in the movie. And it certainly shows in my heart. It stayed in my heart, the way we made that movie together. It was awesome. It was just awesome. It was awesome.
This question is from Ryan Sexton from Indianapolis. There he is. He's asked, do you ever regret killing off Laurie Strode?
All right, here's the deal.
Dun, dun, dun.
Did Halloween 1, did those other movies, and then I did Halloween 2. John didn't do Halloween 2. I did Halloween 2. You know, picked up the moment Halloween 1 left off. Felt like I should be the same girl. I was very proud to be in Halloween 2. I never intended to be in another Halloween movie. And then, 20 years later, 19 years later, I called John and Deborah and said, you know, the movie's going to be 20 years old next year, and we're all still in show business. And it seems kind of crazy. I don't think there's ever been a movie that was 20 years old where all of the people involved in the movie are in a way more famous now than they were then. It's usually the opposite. I said, so it seems like this is an opportunity to do something that's never been done. 20 years later? And so that's how H2O came about. Now, the idiot girl that I am is that I didn't go, you know what, this is all my idea, I'm gonna frickin' produce it. So sadly, I did not take on that role, and I should have. So what happened is John ended up not doing it, although he started to do it. Then Deborah ended up not doing it. And it was Kevin Williamson kind of came on to do it. So now we're the kind of like thing is heating up. And I had said to them from the beginning. So the idea is 20 years later, her life is a mess because she's been on the run her whole life, hiding from this potential threat. She's an alcoholic, she's a dope fiend, her life is a wreck. And obviously he comes back, but we create a scenario whereby she turns the table and says, you know what, fuck it. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die clean, because the life I'm living now is no life. I am not alive in this life. When you're running and afraid your whole life, you have no life. And there was a real sort of deep message of facing fear and living in truth. And if you face the fear, you can live. If you don't face the fear, you're dead anyway. And she was sort of dead anyway. So that was the idea of the movie. And I have said from the beginning, so we're gonna frickin' kill this fucker. You know, it's like, so the end of the movie is that I end it. We're gonna end it here. And everybody was like, yeah, awesome. So the first script comes in, and the script is good, and it's dark, and blah, blah, blah. And then the last scene, you know, something happens, and you know, a car goes off a cliff or something, and it's, you know, they've written it like, the flames reflect in her face and she knows it's over. I was like, no, 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 no. Remember the scene we talked about where he gets pressed in between the Beverly Hills High School pool? You remember in It's a Wonderful Life? You know, when they're dancing and they fall in the pool? That's a real Beverly Hills High School pool. The basketball court is on top of the pool. And it's still there, and it still moves. And I was like, no, 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 no. This is a private school, she's the headmistress. They have that pool. And no, 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 he's gonna fall into the crack, she's gonna shut the fucking pool on him and cut off his fucking head with an axe. And they're like, yeah, right. Script comes in, end of the thing, the car goes off the fucking cliff, and the light reflects in my face. And now we're like a month away from shooting. And I'm really getting panicked because I don't understand. We have these meetings, we have these talks, and then some ambiguous ending is written in. So I go to the office really pissed. I walk in, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? I don't understand this. And we had a stake through the heart, we had a head chopped off, we had it all. And they looked at me and said, Jamie, there's a clause in the contract with Mustafa Akkad that says you can't kill him. What? There is a clause that says we are not allowed to kill him. Now you fucking tell me? This is now a movie where they've hired actors, they've hired a crew, they've hired stunt people, they have done it all. We have locations, clothing. So now for me to go, I'm done, I'm out, I'm gone, I'm bouncing, to use your phrasing. You know, I'm gone. There's no way I am doing this again. And they said, how can we do this with you? I said, you can't. I am not doing this. The whole construction of the story is that this woman stops running, turns back, and faces him, mano a mana, until the death. And she's willing to die for this. And so, Kevin Williamson says, what if, two words you never want to hear in a production office, what if you and the audience think that you've killed him? I said, okay, what? They said, we do it where you kill him. I said, okay, but how do I, no, you kill him. You will take it to the end and you will chop off his head. I said, and we know it's him. Yes, it's the guy in the mask. And I'm like, okay. So, and they said, will you accept that? Now you have to remember, it was a payday for me. I mean, no, I'm not joking. I mean, I got paid. So there was, you know, when somebody contracts with you and you're like, maybe I'll get that new pair of shoes. You know what I mean? You kind of like spend the money a little in your head. You know, it was going to give a little cushion in my family. So, you know, it was a lot of stuff on the table here. It wasn't just like, you know. So I said, okay, I think he's dead and everybody in the audience is going to think he's dead, correct? Correct. They said, will you accept that? And I said, yeah, as long as in the next movie, it opens with me in a mental institution because I have found out that the person that I killed was not him and was an innocent ambulance driver with kids, and that it has sent her gone. And then I then get to die. Because I'm not gonna just like live like this limbo life, that's not gonna happen. And so that's why, sadly, I'm in Resurrection. Sadly. But that was how it had to work. I did that movie in order to satisfy so that when you finished H2O, you all believed and understood, or hopefully you believed and understood that it was him, even though it wasn't. So that was how that had to happen. So for me, you know, it's all good. What happened? It's all good. So I had to end it for myself. And so the best way to do it would be to have him kill me. So I am D-E, A-F-ing D. There is N-O-C-H-A-N-C-E that I will ever be in another Halloween movie, unless Malik Akkad comes up with a frickin' big-ass payday for Jamie, where I might ultimately turn it over to a charity. But I'm talking about like a big-ass payday. And then I'll let them figure out a way of like to try that in fact I'm not dead. But until that moment, which I don't think is going to happen, it's over.
Okay. So there will never be another Laurie Strode movie. Let's take this way now. What was the strangest item that you signed today? And what is your favorite item you've ever signed? This is Jason Hunter from Alabama.
Hi, Jason. Well, the man's thigh. He went and got tatted.
Did you get it done today?
Will you come up and show everyone? I know it's probably all sad.
Look at him.
Oh my God. Wow, that is crazy.
Show it on
Yeah, everybody, meet Larry from the Jay Leno story.
fantastic.
I will tell you one weird thing that you don't know.
This is where people don't listen to me. This is why I should have produced things, because they're such good ideas.
We talk about the original idea for
Okay. So I said, so resurrection, I'm in a mental institution, because of course I've gone mad. Mad, totally warped. I said, how about we're in a mental institution in a small town. I said, what if all of the inmates in the mental institution were the guinea pigs for a beauty college down the road? And that the beauty students came in and used these mental patients as models for learning how to give haircuts, learning how to do, hair dyeing and perms and makeup. I said, wouldn't it be fantastic if all of the inmates were walking around kind of like with Marilyn Monroe hair and like really elaborate makeup, and the guys had like all this. I said, it would be so weird. And I could be just sort of sitting there with like blonde Marilyn Monroe hair that has been bleached and teased, and they wouldn't do it. So that's why Mommy, who had really short hair, shorter than this, Mommy had to get hair extensions, because I said to them, who's cutting her fucking hair? Because they were like, well, no, you don't need hair extensions. I was like, really? It's a mental institution. Who's doing her hair then? And I actually said, what is the date that it happened? And what is the date that this movie is? And it was like 18 months. I said, then she has not had a haircut in 18 months from what it was like in the movie. So that's where I had my long hair extensions. Just letting you know how completely committed to the realism I was. But I wanted it to be all of those beauty people. Come on. Awesome. Lips. Well, it's surreal. Anyway, they don't listen.
This is a pretty good question, actually. Melissa from Indianapolis. First off, Jamie, you are awesome. What's over there? She said in Halloween 2, it was revealed that you were actually Michael Myers' sister. This was an afterthought from the original script, so did it change anything for you in regards to the rest of the film or the script?
Is that a baby? Okay. Oh. But I imagine one of you people just like leaving your baby neck. You're like, she's asleep. Like, oh, there's a baby. All right, here's the deal. I have to believe that George Lucas planned all of those movies. You know what I mean? Because if John Carpenter was here, I would be very happy in front of you and God to look to him and say, John, there's no possible way you ever thought that this would become anything more than this. I mean, you left a sort of ambiguous ending, but that was as much about that you can't kill this thing, to have him be gone. It's sort of the metaphor for the whole movie. I just don't believe that no one ever said a word to me that they had plans like way down the line for this. So this is where these movies kind of take on this very interesting life, because this shit just starts getting made up. And you start going a lot of, what if it was her brother? And I have found it interesting to watch these these movies get sort of jury-rigged and Rube Goldberg to fit some logic line that somehow connects and that fan bases become obsessed by. See, that's where your fandom of this type of film, the logic line of all of that, becomes like the Bible. But it wasn't a Bible. You know what I mean? It's just not, it is made up, kind of as it all goes. Which I guess in some ways, some religions, but I won't go there. I'm going there. I respect everyone's beliefs, believe me. I don't need to get inflammatory here, but I'm saying, there is a point where I think that there is some, a lot of this stuff is made up. And I certainly, no one ever said a word, there's no document, there's no piece of paper that these people wrote out. This is what is all going to happen. It just doesn't exist. So, unless John Carpenter was sitting here and said, oh yes it does, here it is. And it's dated, 1977, and all of a sudden it's authenticated, but I don't believe it exists. So really what happens is you make it up.
Okay. We're going to get a couple more here. It's been a long day for this
awesome.
lady here.
What are you kidding? I'm happy.
This one is from Jeremy Moorhead. There he is. Oh yeah, I know that dude. Let's see. Were you ever approached to participate in Halloween 4 through 6, any of those films? And if so, why did you decline? And do you regret not being in any of those films?
No. Honestly, I don't. I didn't want to do Halloween 2. I didn't think we needed to do a Halloween 2. And I did it because the way they chose to do it was the way they chose to do it. Which again, was not a plan from the beginning. That was the plan that they came up with. I know, what if we pick up the movie from the moment it ended? And that's really how it was constructed. And there are, I'm happy I did it because the fans liked it a lot, and because it was Laurie Strode that same day, and I felt it was important, even though the wig sucked. It itched a lot. But I don't think I was approached, because as I said to you, after Halloween 2, that was it. I made a decision to stop. Again, not out of any disrespect for the genre, but out of my understanding of probably being raised in show business, although not actively raised in show business, that would not have allowed me to do any other work. That in fact, it was already probably a big limiting factor for me to get any other work. And I'm just very, very lucky. In fact, the truth of the matter is that the reason I am in Trading Places, my name is Inga, I'm from Sweden. The reason I am is because John Landis directed a short called Coming Soon, which was a documentary about 50s horror films that you can, I'm assuming, get somewhere. Has anyone here seen it? Yeah? Okay. No. And he asked me to narrate it. And because I narrated that and worked with him, he hired me for Trading Places. By himself, by the way. Meaning, he hired me. I did not, it was not anything where anyone else wanted me anywhere near that movie. The studio didn't want me, Eddie and Danny didn't want me. I guarantee you, if you had to pick one woman in Hollywood to be in a movie with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd and John Landis, one woman, basically in the entire movie, you would not pick me. but John did. And I don't think I would have ever met him had I not done that weird short, which was based on the fact that because I'd been in horror films, I could narrate that short. So again, you are directly responsible for me being in that film. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to kind of combine two sort of similar questions from Danny Velasquez and Laura LaBarbera. Neither of them here? Okay. Let's see. Of all of your roles that you've taken on as an actress, what character would you look most forward to reprising and why? And is there any truth to rumors about a True Lies Part 2?
No, there's not. That will never happen. That will just never happen. It won't happen primarily because of 9/11. You know, Jim said to me, you can't ever make a comedy about terrorism again. Or certainly you can't for the foreseeable future. You know, to try to do comedy around that kind of activity would be impossible today. It also, you couldn't make a movie like that today because the scope and size of it would be so enormous. And the cost and the budget would be so outrageous. And the truth of the matter is, Arnold and I are old. No, I mean really old. So you're not going to want to go watch a movie with these two old people. You know, you might want to see a movie with Eliza Dushku dancing around. You know what I mean? It's like, it could be like Spy Kids, you know, the one where the kids like become the spies and then the adults are the old people. But I just don't think it'll ever happen. I mean, I know it's not going to ever happen. And it shouldn't happen. Although, funny enough, that would be, but see, here's the truth. I would say that would be the part I would want to do, because that was a great part. That was a great part. But you know what made it a great part? Is that everybody's lying to each other. What made it so good is that everyone is lying. No one is telling the truth. They're lies. Meaning, every scene, everybody has a secret identity. The wife doesn't know about the husband doesn't know about the wife. Now that the truth has been told, I think all the fun would go out of it because there's no conflict. Then it's just a spy movie with people kicking ass, and I just don't think that would work. But anyway, I did love that movie. That was an awesome movie.
This is a kind of fun question I like. Steve Harrington from St. Louis. Steven now?
Yeah, right.
I know. How cool is it to be married to Nigel Tufnell, the legendary dance master? And do all the appliances in your home go to 11? How great is Christopher Guest?
He's crazy good. He is a really interesting man. He couldn't do this for 1 second. I mean, this would scare the shit out of him. He is so shy in private. This would not be something my husband could do. My husband is fabulous. He's funny. He's complicated. He's quiet. He is shooting a TV series that he's writing called Family Tree, that he's shooting in London, England right now, about a guy, Chris O'Dowd, who finds a trunk, who's given a trunk that a dead aunt has left him. And as he starts to go through it, he's sort of a slacker guy from London. As he starts to go through it, he starts to learn about his family that he didn't know he had. And it basically follows Chris O'Dowd, you know him. Very funny guy, super funny guy, around the world, basically. So they're shooting 4 episodes in London and 4 episodes in America. And so he's just finishing the London portion. So it's really funny. It'll be a TV series on HBO called Family Tree that's done in the style of his movies, where it's all improvised, all the actors improvise, but the stories are all written. And so he's shooting now. He's busy. I haven't seen him in quite a long time. He's been gone 2 months. I was there, you know, it's been about 6 weeks since I've seen him. So he'll be home after Thanksgiving, and I'm happy he'll be coming home. But he's awesome. He's interesting. He's quiet. Plays an instrument every day. He's a musician. Play something every day. Guitar, mandolin, mandocello, piano, clarinet. What else? A lot of instruments. Oh, did I say clarinet? No, did I say mandolin? Mandolin, a lot of mandolin, banjo. He's a musician, plays a lot of instruments. It's awesome, it's quiet. I'm seriously, we are like the complete pair of opposites, because I'm not so.
Okay, last question. Last question. We're going to combine two into one because I think they almost answer themselves in a way. This is from Chuck from Columbus and Kathy DeGrassi from Greenwood, Indiana. You in there? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Oh, number one, you're last now. He was the first person in line. He was the awesome first person in line after this whole day. And you're now the last person in line. That's perfect.
Well, this is the combo. After all these years, what was it that finally made you decide to do an appearance at a convention, more specifically a horror convention? And, to answer another question, what inspired you to get involved with the Children's Hospital, and can you share any story?
Yeah, awesome. Okay, here's what happened. As you know, I've never gone to a convention because, again, well, first of all, I'm raising 2 kids. So it's not like I'm like hanging out on the weekends like, oh, man, what am I going to do? Oh, I know, maybe I'll go to a convention. I mean, I'm a busy mom. I'm a full card-carrying mom. I mean, my life is my family. So it isn't something that I would naturally have gone to. People have asked, hey, will you come to a convention? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. Again, not with any disrespect. And I went last October, a year ago October, to Malik Akkad's first ever Scare Foundation event in Los Angeles, where I was given some sort of You're a Good Person award.
Justin from the Scare Foundation's right,
Where's
right
Justin?
there, right there.
Hi, Justin.
Also doing good things, so let's hear it from them.
No. The Scare Foundation is really beautiful advocacy, utilizing the incredible fan base, the great loyalty and love and passion of the fans of horror films for a greater good. And the Scare Foundation was set up, and I'm sure all of you know that Malik Akkad's father and sister were killed in Turkey, I believe. Was it Turkey? Jordan, in a terrorist bombing of the hotel where they were attending a wedding. And Malik, at this event, there was his sister. Is the award given in her name?
We have a grant for her now.
It's a grant.
Yeah, but you were the humanitarian of the year for.
Thank you. But I remember there was a grant, and in fact, the poem, what she had written, I actually have at home. I should have brought it here. It was really beautiful. Something that she had written about wanting to be a good person, how she kind of seized the day of her life, each day. And it's very moving and very inspirational, and maybe you can put it up on your Scare Foundation website.
It's on there.
It's on there. So I would suggest you all go to this website, A, donate, B, just read these beautiful words that she wrote. And so, of course, I went to this event, saw many of you. It was a little Halloween heavy for me. You know, there were a lot of guys in masks with knives. You know what I mean? It was the first time I had been in a photograph with a guy with a mask and a knife in a long, long, long time. And when we were there, Malik said something about selling something. It was like sign a mask or something because we were going to auction it. And the light bulb went off in my head. And I thought, oh, right. People will pay money for this stuff. And so what happened is, I thought, So the first thing I was going to do, prior to coming to this, was I ordered masks online, and then I contacted every living member of the basically crew and cast of Halloween 1. And in doing so, I sent, I tried to contact everyone, and we had a FedEx train of this box of masks. And I ended up connecting back with everybody who I hadn't talked to in years and years and years. Nancy, PJ, Dick, Chuck, John, Tommy Wallace, Dean Cundy, the list goes on. And in order to find some of these people, I think it was Tommy Wallace said to me, you should call my friend Sean Clark. He knows a lot of the people. So then I called Sean, and then Sean suggested that I do a convention. And
No, it was actually your idea. Actually.
But I think I said to you, if I came to a convention, could we make it for charity? Could we do it where all of the money raised today for anything that I have to do with doesn't go home in my pocket, it goes straight to charity? Because that would be the only way I would do it. I would never, ever want to do the thing where I'm like asking for your money for me. That would be...
I don't mean to cut you off. Let's squash this bullshit rumor I've been reading online that she got an appearance fee to be here. She absolutely did not. Absolutely did not. This is all for charity. Haters like to spread bullshit, and this is all charity.
Excuse me, I bought my own fucking tickets.
She did.
To Indiana.
You bought your own ticket.
This was to take advantage of this situation. This is the perfect storm of philanthropy. Fans, fan me. Ship to buy, sign, masks, posters, pictures, etc., etc. You're happy, I'm happy, the hospital's happy. It's a win-win. So that's how this happened. So Sean and I connected, we started talking, the masks went on their world tour, and then really it came to, okay, how do we do this? When do we do it? And then this man was in charge of everything. He picked the venue, he picked the state, he picked the gig, he picked everything, he picked all the people. It's all been Sean all the way, and literally, this has been on my books. This has been something, we did a little promo video at my house, in my kitchen. I mentioned it on Jay the other night, but other than that, I've done nothing except make airplane reservations to come here and hire my fabulous sister hire. Ask my fabulous sister and brother-in-law to come and document it, make a documentary about the night she came home. And that's really how this all happened, is so that I ultimately, it all happened because of Sean. It would not have happened without ever talking to this man. I would have never known who to call, and I wouldn't have called. So if I hadn't had this opportunity to talk to Sean and hear that this is something he has done, he's dedicated his life to it. And in his dedicating his life to it, in the same way I've dedicated my life to my work and my family, in the way that you guys have dedicated yourselves in some way to Halloween, that this film and these types of films, you have made a commitment to, of time and money and passion and energy. It's all the same. What he does, what I do, what you do, it's all the same. We're all just doing something that we're interested in, that we're lucky enough to be here to be able to do, that we're all lucky enough to have a little money in our pockets to be able to actually get what we want. It's no different. And all that's different here is that I've been privileged beyond measure in my life, beyond anything in my life I ever possibly dreamed I would have. And so for me, the opportunity to then take this passion and turn it into something good for Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, which is, I'm a local girl, born and raised in Los Angeles. That is my children's hospital. You know, I work with a lot of different children's charities, and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles sort of encompasses all of it. And it's just, for me, I needed to consolidate about a year ago because I was kind of doing a bunch of different charities. And so I just said, you know what, Children's Hospital Los Angeles, that's the one. So that's why they are going to receive the funds from you. And that's how I'm here, and that's why it's a good
Love you, Jamie!
Love you!
All right, everybody, let's hear it for Jamie Lee Curtis.
Go home, get some sleep.
She's only been here for 14 hours?
It's awesome. I've loved every second of it. Well, actually, there was about 14 seconds in the middle of this toward the end that I was getting a little tired. But other than that, it's been a beautiful day, and I'll see many of you tomorrow. Go home, drive safely, don't drink and drive. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot, you guys.